The crystal chandeliers of the Grand Azure Hotel cast prismatic light across white tablecloths as I took my seat at table 17. Not the family table. Not even close to it. I was positioned near the kitchen doors, where the constant swing of servers created a draft that made the candles flicker. "Claire, you actually came," my sister Amanda said, pausing at my table with her new husband Marcus. Her white gown probably cost more than most people's cars. "I'm surprised you could afford the gas money to get here." I set down my water glass carefully. "Congratulations on your wedding, Amanda. Everything looks beautiful." "It should," Marcus interjected, adjusting his designer cufflinks. "This venue charges $30,000 just for the reception space. Not including food, obviously." "Obviously," I said softly. Amanda leaned closer and I caught the scent of her expensive perfume. "Honestly, Claire, I almost didn't send you an invitation. Mom said it would be embarrassing having you here in your... What are you wearing?" "Something from a discount store." I glanced down at my simple navy dress. It was nice, professional, purchased from a regular department store. "It's comfortable." "Comfortable," Amanda repeated, laughing. "Did you hear that, Marcus? Comfortable. Claire, this is a luxury event. People should look sophisticated. Not like they're going to a job interview at a call center." "I think I look fine," I said evenly. Marcus snorted. "Sure. Fine for a Tuesday morning meeting. Not fine for the Grand Azure Hotel. Do you have any idea what the average net worth is in this room?" "I couldn't guess," I replied. "Let's just say you're bringing down the average considerably," Amanda said, then swept away toward the family table where my parents sat with her in-laws. The first course arrived. A delicate arrangement of seared scallops with microgreens and some kind of foam I couldn't identify. It was beautifully plated. I ate slowly, watching the servers move with practiced precision through the room. "Claire." My mother's voice carried across 3 tables. She was waving me over, her diamond bracelet catching the light. I walked over carefully, aware of eyes following me. "Yes, Mom. We're taking a family photo." "Well, the immediate family." She gestured to where Amanda, Marcus, Dad, and Marcus's parents were gathering. "You can wait here." "I'm immediate family," I said quietly. "Oh, sweetie." Mom patted my arm. "You know what I mean. The people who actually contributed to this event. The people who matter in Amanda's life. You understand, don't you?" I nodded and stepped back. Through the camera lens, I watched my family smile and pose, a perfect portrait of success and celebration. The photographer didn't even glance my way. When I returned to my table, I found my father standing there, examining the place setting. "Claire, we need to talk about something," he said. "What is it, Dad?" He sat down in the chair across from me, something he'd never done at a family event. Usually he avoided me entirely. "Your mother and I have been discussing your situation." "My situation?" "Your financial situation. Your life situation. All of it." He folded his hands on the table. "We're concerned." "Concerned about what?" "About your future. You're 32 years old. You work some entry-level job at an office we can't even remember the name of. You drive a 7-year-old sedan. You live in a rental apartment." He counted these off like they were crimes. Meanwhile, Amanda has built a real life. Real success. "I'm happy with my life," I said. "Happy?" He frowned. "Claire, happiness isn't the point. Achievement is the point. Contribution is the point. Look around this room. These are successful people. Doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs, executives. What are you?" "I'm an analyst," I said. "An analyst." He said it like the word tasted bad. "That's what unsuccessful people call themselves when they don't have a real title." "What do you actually do, Claire?" "I analyze data and make recommendations." "For who?" "Some tiny company no one's heard of." "Something like that." He shook his head. "Your mother and I didn't raise you to be mediocre. We raised you to achieve. But you've consistently disappointed us. Do you know how embarrassing it is when people ask about our daughters? Amanda's a marketing executive married to a commercial real estate developer, we say. And Claire? Claire does something with computers." "I'm sorry you're embarrassed," I said. "Sorry isn't enough. Action is what matters. We've decided to cut you off completely." I blinked. "Cut me off from what?" "From the Family Financial Support Network. No more birthday checks. No more Christmas gifts. No emergency fund access. You're on your own. Maybe tough love will motivate you to actually make something of yourself. I haven't asked you for money in 10 years, I pointed out. That's not the point. The point is that you're not trying. You're settling. And we won't enable that anymore. He stood up. Now please try not to embarrass us further tonight. Don't talk to Amanda's in-laws. Don't mention what you do for work if anyone asks. Just stay at your table and eat quietly. He walked away. I sat there for a moment, then picked up my fork and continued eating. The scallops were excellent. The main course was filet mignon with truffle butter and roasted vegetables. As it was being served, my brother-in-law Marcus stopped by my table again. Claire, quick question, he said. What kind of car do you drive? A Honda Civic. He laughed. A Civic. That's perfect. That's exactly what I would have guessed. Do you know what I drive? I don't. A Tesla Model S Plaid. Top of the line. 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds. It costs more than you probably make in a year. He waited for my reaction. That's nice, I said. Nice. He seemed disappointed by my response. It's not nice, Claire. It's exceptional. It's what successful people drive. But I guess you wouldn't understand that. You're probably thinking a Civic is perfectly adequate. It gets me where I need to go. See, that's your problem right there. That mindset. Adequate. Gets me where I need to go. Successful people don't think like that. We think about excellence. About status. About making statements. I prefer to be practical, I said. Marcus leaned against the back of an empty chair. Let me tell you something, Claire. Amanda almost didn't invite you tonight. Did you know that? She mentioned something about it. She was worried you'd make her look bad. Having a sister who's basically, well, let's be honest, who's basically poor. It reflects on her, you know? People judge you by your family. I'm not poor, I said evenly. Oh, come on. You're eating at table 17. Do you know where that is in the hierarchy? That's the we had to invite them but don't want them too close table. That's the pity table. I see. And let me give you some advice from someone who's actually made it in the world. If you want people to respect you, you need to show success. Dress better. Get a better car. Move to a better neighborhood. Fake it till you make it, you know? I'll keep that in mind, I said. He patted the table. Good talk. Oh, and maybe don't order dessert. I saw it on the menu. It's a $40 chocolate soufflé. Probably more than you'd want to spend on a single course. I watched him walk away, then took another bite of my steak. It was cooked perfectly, medium rare with a pink center. Amanda appeared as dessert was being served. Claire, we're going to do the cake cutting soon. Please don't get in any of the photos. I've instructed the photographer to focus on people who actually look like they belong here. Understood, I said. And honestly, after dinner you can probably leave early. You've shown up, you've been seen, that's enough. I'm sure you're not comfortable here anyway. This isn't really your world. What is my world? I asked. He thought about it. I don't know. Cheap restaurants? Bargain shopping? Netflix and microwave dinners? Whatever it is, it's definitely not 5-star hotels and luxury weddings. You're probably right, I said quietly. I know I'm right. Look, I'm not trying to be mean, Claire. I'm being honest. You and I are just different. I'm ambitious. I want the best. You're content with less. That's fine for you, but it means we don't really have much in common anymore. She started to walk away, then turned back. Oh, one more thing. Don't try to take any leftover food home. The hotel staff has been instructed about portion control and waste management. Besides, it would look really tacky. I nodded and she left. The cake cutting happened without me. The bouquet toss happened without me. The first dance, the toasts, the special moments. I watched them all from table 17 near the kitchen doors, eating my $40 chocolate soufflé slowly. It was around 9:30 when my mother came over with my Aunt Susan and Uncle Richard. Claire, your aunt and uncle were just asking about you, Mom said in that tone that meant she was annoyed she had to acknowledge my existence. Hi Aunt Susan, Uncle Richard, I said. Claire. We haven't seen you in ages. Aunt Susan hugged me. How are you doing? I'm well, thank you. We were just asking your mother about your life. She said you work in an office. That's right. Doing what exactly? Uncle Richard asked. My mother interrupted. Something with data entry, I think. Nothing too exciting. Susan, Richard, you should try the champagne. It's from France. $25 a glass. Data analysis, actually, I corrected gently. Right, Mom said dismissively. Anyway, Claire has a nice little life. Nothing spectacular, but she seems content. Don't you, dear? I'm content, I confirmed. Aunt Susan looked uncomfortable. Well, that's what matters, isn't it? Being happy. If you say so, Mom replied. Though I've always thought achievement matters more than happiness. But maybe that's just me. Maybe some people are meant to be followers rather than leaders. Mom, I started. It's fine, Claire. We all have different levels of capability. You found your level. There's no shame in that. He smiled at my aunt and uncle. Come on, let me introduce you to Marcus's parents. They own a development company worth $50 million. They walked away. I finished my soufflé. Around 10 o'clock, as the dancing was in full swing, my father approached with my sister's father-in-law, Mr. Thompson. Claire, this is Robert Thompson, Marcus's father, Dad said. Nice to meet you, I said, standing politely. Mr. Thompson shook my hand with a grip that seemed designed to demonstrate dominance. Your father tells me you work in data analysis. That's correct. Which company? I hesitated. It's a small firm. You probably haven't heard of it. Try me. I know most of the business landscape in this city. I'd rather not talk about work at a wedding, I said diplomatically. Dad frowned. Claire's always been secretive about her job. Probably because it's nothing to brag about. Not like Amanda's position at Sterling Marketing. Marketing is a good field, Mr. Thompson agreed. Real influence, real impact. Data analysis, though, that's more of a support role, isn't it? Behind the scenes stuff. Someone has to do it, I said. True. The world needs worker bees, not just queens. He chuckled at his own joke. But tell me, Claire, what are your career goals? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I'm happy where I am. Happy where you are. He exchanged a look with my father. That's the problem with your generation. No ambition. In my day we were always pushing forward, climbing higher. Now everyone just wants to be happy at their mediocre jobs. Maybe happiness is a worthy goal, I suggested. Happiness is what happens when you achieve something meaningful, Mr. Thompson said. Not what you settle for when you can't achieve anything at all. Dad nodded along enthusiastically. Exactly what I've been trying to tell her for years. But Claire has always been the stubborn one. Never listened to advice. That's a shame, Mr. Thompson said. With the right mentorship, even someone at her level could probably improve their situation. Though I suppose some people lack the fundamental drive required for real success. They walked away together, laughing about something. I sat back down. The evening wore on. More relatives stopped by to ask what I did for work, where I lived, what my plans were. Each conversation felt like an assessment I was failing. My cousin Jennifer asked if I was still renting that tiny apartment. My uncle Paul asked if I'd ever consider going back to school, to actually make something of yourself. My grandmother asked if I had any prospects at all, dear, because you're not getting any younger. I answered each question calmly, deflecting when I could, admitting the truth when I couldn't. At 11 o'clock, as I was considering leaving, Amanda found me again. Claire, I need to talk to you about something, she said, sitting down at my table uninvited. What is it? This is awkward, but the hotel just sent me the final invoice. There's a charge on here that doesn't make sense. What kind of charge? It says there's a room reserved under your name. Room 2847. Did you book a room here? I did. Her eyes widened. You booked a room at the Grand Azure? Claire, do you know how much rooms cost here? The basic rooms start at $600 a night. I'm aware. Then why would you, wait, are you actually staying here tonight? Are you that desperate to pretend you're part of this world? I had my reasons, I said. Your reasons? Amanda's voice rose. Claire, this is pathetic. You can't afford to stay here. You're going to max out a credit card or something trying to impress people who already know you're not at our level. Please tell me you didn't actually check in. I checked in this afternoon. Oh my God. She put her face in her hands. This is so embarrassing. What if someone sees you in the elevator or the lobby? What if they realize you're staying in the same hotel as all our successful guests? They'll think you're some kind of stalker or groupie. I'm just staying overnight, I said. I'll leave in the morning. You need to cancel it. Right now. Get your deposit back, cut your losses. Claire, I'm serious. This is beyond inappropriate. You're trying to infiltrate a lifestyle you don't belong in. The room is paid for, I said quietly. Then get a refund. I'm sure they have cancellation policies. She stood up. I'm going to talk to Mom and Dad about this. This is exactly the kind of delusional behavior we've been worried about. She stormed off toward the family table. I could see her talking animatedly to our parents, gesturing back at me. All three of them looked over, wearing identical expressions of disappointment and disgust. A few minutes later, all three of them came to my table. Several nearby guests turned to watch. Claire, Amanda told us about the room, Mom said in a harsh whisper. What were you thinking? I was thinking I'd need a place to stay, I said. You live 40 minutes away, Dad said. You could have driven home. Instead, you wasted hundreds of dollars trying to pretend you're something you're not. I wanted to stay at the hotel, I said simply. This is exactly what we're talking about, Mom said. This kind of irresponsible financial decision-making. This is why you're stuck where you are in life. You spend money on things you can't afford instead of investing in your future. Amanda crossed her arms. I want you to cancel that room right now. This is my wedding and I won't have you embarrassing me by pretending to be a guest at a luxury hotel. I am a guest at a luxury hotel, I pointed out. I'm staying here. You're crashing here, Amanda corrected. There's a difference. Real guests belong here. You're just playing dress up. I think I'll keep my room, I said. Dad's face reddened. Claire Elizabeth Williams, you will cancel that room immediately, or we will call the hotel management ourselves and have them remove you from the premises. On what grounds? On the grounds that you can't afford to be here and you're clearly having some kind of mental break thinking you can just... Is everything all right here? We all turned. A man in an immaculate black suit had approached our table. His name tag identified him as James Morrison, hotel manager. He had the kind of composed, professional demeanor that came from years of handling difficult situations. We're fine, Dad said quickly. Just a family discussion. I apologize for interrupting, James said smoothly. I just wanted to check in on our VIP guest and ensure everything is meeting expectations. VIP guest? Amanda looked confused. James smiled at me. Ms. Williams, I trust your suite is satisfactory? We upgraded you to the presidential level as requested. The silence at the table was profound. The presidential level? Mom repeated faintly. Of course, James said. Ms. Williams always stays in our finest accommodations when she's here. Although, Ms. Williams, I must say we're delighted to have you attending an event in the ballroom this time rather than just staying with us during your business trips. Business trips? Dad said. James looked between my family members and me, his professional instincts clearly sensing tension. I hope I haven't spoken out of turn. You're saying Claire stays here regularly? Amanda asked. I shouldn't discuss guest information, James said carefully. But given the circumstances and with Ms. Williams present, I think I can confirm that yes, she's one of our most valued regular guests. There must be some mistake, Mom said. Our daughter can't afford. Mom, I said quietly. Please. No, Claire, this is absurd. This man clearly has you confused with someone else. Tell him. Tell him there's been a mix-up. James pulled out his phone, tapped the screen a few times and showed it to my mother. This is Ms. Williams's profile in our guest management system. Is this not her? Mom stared at the screen, then at me. I don't understand. Perhaps we should discuss this elsewhere, I suggested. No, Amanda said sharply. We're discussing this right here. Mr. Morrison, how many times has my sister stayed at this hotel? James looked uncomfortable. I really shouldn't. How many times? He glanced at me. I gave a small nod. According to our records, Ms. Williams has stayed with us 73 times over the past 4 years. She maintains an annual membership in our Diamond Elite program, which requires a minimum spend of $200,000 per year in room rates alone. Amanda actually stumbled backward. $200,000? That doesn't include dining, spa services, or event space rentals, James added. Ms. Williams, your family seems surprised by this information. I apologize if I've created any awkwardness. It's fine, James, I said. Wait, Dad said, his voice strange. Event space rentals? We really should discuss this in private, I said, standing up. The Grand Azure has been honored to host several of Ms. Williams's corporate events, James said, including an annual conference that brings in approximately 3,000 attendees each year. We're already looking forward to next year's booking. Marcus appeared, drawn by the commotion. What's going on? Apparently Claire is some kind of secret millionaire who stays at luxury hotels all the time, Amanda said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Which is obviously ridiculous. Mr. Morrison clearly has her confused with someone else. James's expression shifted slightly from apologetic to something more professional. I assure you there is no confusion. Ms. Williams is not only a valued guest but... He paused. But what? Dad demanded. I should really let Ms. Williams explain, James said. All eyes turned to me. The nearby tables had gone quiet, guests openly listening now. Claire, Mom said slowly. What is he talking about? Before I could answer, a woman in a sharp business suit approached. Her badge identified her as Patricia Chin, Director of Operations. James, I need to speak with you about... Oh. He stopped, seeing our group. Ms. Williams. I didn't realize you were here for a personal event. I hope everything has been perfect. Everything's been lovely, Patricia. Thank you. Patricia looked at my family. These must be your relatives. How wonderful that the event is being held here. Ms. Williams, if you need anything at all tonight, please don't hesitate to call me directly. Ms. Williams doesn't need to call anyone, Amanda said coldly. This is my wedding and I'm the one who booked this venue. Patricia's smile remained but her eyes cooled. Of course. Though technically the booking was made through Sterling Events, which is one of our corporate partners. The actual contract is with the property ownership group. So, Amanda said. So the ownership group has final approval on all events, Patricia explained. We're very pleased they approved your wedding, Mrs. Thompson. They. Dad said. Who are they? Patricia looked at James. James looked at me. I could see both of them calculating what they should say. Perhaps it's time, I said quietly. Time for what? Mom demanded. A third person approached our table. An older gentleman in an expensive suit, walking with the confidence of someone who owned everything around him. His name tag read, Michael Reynolds, Regional Vice President, Azure Luxury Hotels. Excuse me, he said pleasantly. I don't mean to interrupt a family celebration, but I saw Ms. Williams was here and wanted to say hello personally. He shook my hand warmly. Claire, wonderful to see you. I trust James and Patricia have been taking excellent care of you. As always, Michael, I said. Outstanding. And I wanted to let you know that the quarterly reports are ready for your review. I'll have them sent to your office on Monday as usual. The color drained from my father's face. Her office. Michael smiled at my father. You must be very proud of your daughter, Mr. Williams. Not many people accomplish what she has by age 32. I don't. I'm not. Dad couldn't form a complete sentence. I'm sorry, Amanda interrupted, her voice shaking. Who exactly are you? Michael Reynolds. I oversee the Azure Luxury Hotels East Coast operations. Which means I report directly to the ownership board. He paused. Which includes Ms. Williams as the majority shareholder. The world seemed to stop spinning. Majority shareholder, Mom repeated numbly. That's correct. Ms. Williams owns 51% of Azure Luxury Hotels International, which includes this property and 47 others across 12 countries. Marcus laughed. Sounded slightly hysterical. That's impossible. Claire drives a Honda Civic. I like my Civic, I said softly. Claire, Dad said slowly. Is this true? I looked at my family. My sister in her expensive wedding gown. My brother-in-law with his designer suit and Tesla. My parents with their diamond jewelry and superior attitudes. All of them staring at me like I'd suddenly grown a second head. Yes, I said simply. It's true. But how? Amanda whispered. I started a data analysis company in my 20s. We developed predictive algorithms for hospitality markets. Azure Hotels bought my company 4 years ago for their algorithm, But part of the deal was that I retained majority ownership in the parent company. I also sit on the board and oversee certain strategic initiatives. You're a data analyst, Dad said weakly. I am. I analyze market data, revenue projections, customer behavior patterns, expansion opportunities, and dozens of other factors. I just do it for a company worth approximately $8 billion. Mom sat down heavily in an empty chair. $8 billion. That's the current valuation, yes. Amanda's voice rose. Then why do you dress like that? Why do you drive that car? Why do you live in a rental apartment? Because I like my clothes. I like my car. And I like my apartment. I don't need to prove anything to anyone. You let us think you were poor. Mom said accusingly. You assumed I was poor. I never said I was. You never corrected us. You never asked. You just decided. All of you. I looked at each of them in turn. You decided I was a failure because I didn't perform success the way you wanted me to. I was content with that. I didn't need your approval. But you embarrassed us. Dad said. I embarrassed you by not living up to your arbitrary standards. That's different. James cleared his throat. Ms. Williams, about the wedding event tonight. Given the circumstances, should we proceed with the standard post-event protocols? What protocols? Amanda asked nervously. The event was booked at our standard rate, Patricia explained. 15% discount through Sterling Events. However, when a majority shareholder's family member is involved, we typically apply a family courtesy adjustment. A courtesy adjustment? Marcus said hopefully. Yes. We charge full rate. No discounts. No deferrals. Full payment due within 30 days instead of our usual 60-day payment plan option. Amanda's face went pale. But the invoice you sent earlier was the discounted amount. $30,000 for the space, plus catering plus service fees. With the family courtesy adjustment, the total comes to $42,000. Due in full by December 1st. That's in 30 days. Marcus said. Yes, sir. We can't pay that much in 30 days. We were counting on the payment plan. Patricia's smile remained perfect. I understand. Unfortunately, the policy is quite clear when family members of the ownership board are involved. We maintain strict standards to avoid any appearance of preferential treatment. Dad stood up. Now wait just a minute. Claire, you can't let them do this. You're on the board. You can override this policy. I could, I agreed. But why would I? Because we're your family. My family. The family that put me at table 17. The family that told me I was an embarrassment. The family that said I couldn't afford the dessert. The family that was ashamed to have me in their photographs. My voice remained calm. That family. Claire, please, Mom said. We didn't mean. You meant every word. You always have. For years you've treated me like I was less than. Like I was a disappointment. Like I was something to be hidden away and ignored. We just wanted you to succeed. Dad protested. I did succeed. You just never bothered to notice because my success didn't look like what you expected. Amanda stepped forward. Claire, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. You didn't know because you didn't care to know. You made assumptions and never questioned them. But we're family, Mom said desperately. Are we? Because family usually doesn't treat each other the way you've treated me. Michael cleared his throat. Ms. Williams, I hate to interrupt, but there's another matter. The annual board meeting is next week and we need to finalize the venue. You mentioned possibly hosting it here. I did. But given tonight's experience, I'm thinking we might choose a different property. Perhaps the Azure Monte Carlo. Excellent choice. That would mean approximately 800 guests, correct? Board members, executives, and their families. That's right. We'll make arrangements immediately. The Monte Carlo booking would generate approximately $2 million in revenue for that property. Dad's face went even paler. $2 million? Claire, you can't take that away from this hotel. Think of the local economy. The jobs. I am thinking of them. I'm thinking they deserve a hotel owner who isn't being actively insulted by her own family in the ballroom. James's phone buzzed. He glanced at it. Ms. Williams, I'm being informed that several guests are asking about room bookings for future events. Apparently word has spread about who you are. Should I process these at standard rates or? Standard rates for everyone except immediate family. For them, use the no discount family courtesy rate. Understood. Uncle Richard approached hesitantly. Claire, sweetheart, I'm sure we all said some things tonight that came out wrong. They came out exactly how you meant them, Uncle Richard. You asked if I had any prospects. You suggested I was running out of time. You implied I was a failure. I smiled sadly. The funny thing is, I never needed your validation. I was fine being underestimated. It made my life simpler. Aunt Susan was crying. We didn't understand. You didn't try to understand. There's a difference. Patricia's phone rang. She answered, listened, and then looked at me. Ms. Williams, the hotel concierge, is asking about the 3 vehicles that were parked in the VIP section. Apparently, security is questioning their authorization. 2 Teslas and a Mercedes. Are those your family's vehicles? Marcus nodded. That's mine and Amanda's parents' cars. And the Mercedes is ours, Dad said. I see. Well, the VIP section is reserved for ownership, executive staff, and their approved guests. Since Ms. Williams has not designated any of you as approved guests, I'm afraid those vehicles will need to be moved to standard parking. Standard parking is 3 blocks away, Marcus said. It's 11 at night. Yes, sir. The valet can retrieve your vehicles if you'd like, but there will be a $50 convenience fee per vehicle. Dad looked at me. Claire, this is petty. Is it? This entire evening, you've all made it clear that I don't belong in your world. That I'm not at your level. Now you want me to give you access to mine. Michael's phone rang. He answered, spoke briefly, and then addressed my sister. Mrs. Thompson, I'm being informed that the hotel restaurant charge for your rehearsal dinner last night is being reviewed. It was previously comped as a courtesy, but given the changed circumstances. How much was the rehearsal dinner? I asked. $8,000, Michael said. Amanda swayed. You're going to charge us for that too? It's standard policy when the family courtesy protocols are applied. Claire, please. Amanda grabbed my arm. We can't afford all of this. The wedding already cost us everything we had saved. If you make us pay full price for everything, we'll be in debt for years. I looked at her hand on my arm, then at her face. Tears were streaming down her cheeks, ruining her perfect makeup. You should have thought of that before you told me to stick to fast food, I said quietly. I pulled my arm away and turned to James. Please prepare the updated invoice for the Thompson family. Full amounts, 30-day payment terms, no exceptions. Yes, Ms. Williams. Claire, you can't do this. Marcus said. This is vindictive. This is cruel. Is it? Or is it just the natural consequence of your own behavior? I picked up my small purse from the table. You all spent the evening making it very clear that money determines worth. That success is measured in dollars and status symbols. So here's your lesson. I have more money than all of you combined. I have more success than you ever imagined. And I still don't think you're worth very much. Claire Elizabeth Williams. Dad's voice was sharp with authority. Or it tried to be. That tone doesn't work anymore, Dad. You have no authority over me. You never really did, but now you definitely don't. Mom stood up. If you do this, if you charge us these fees and take away the discounts, we'll never forgive you. Good, I said simply. Then we'll be even. I started walking toward the exit. Behind me, I could hear my family starting to argue with James and Patricia, their voices rising in panic and desperation. Other guests were pulling out their phones, probably already texting about the drama unfolding at table 17. As I reached the ballroom doors, Michael caught up with me. Ms. Williams, I apologize if our staff revealed more than we should have tonight. It's fine, Michael. It was time. The board meeting in Monte Carlo, you're serious about that? Completely serious. Michael, I want you to make a note in our booking system. The Williams family is no longer eligible for any corporate discounts, partnership rates, or courtesy adjustments at any Azure property worldwide. Understood. I'll make sure that's implemented immediately. Thank you. I took the elevator to my suite on the presidential level. The doors closed, finally muffling the sounds of my sister's wedding disaster. As the elevator rose, I caught sight of my reflection in the mirrored walls. I was still wearing my simple navy dress from a regular department store. I was still the same person I'd been when I arrived. The only difference was that now my family knew the truth. And I was absolutely fine with that. The elevator chimed softly as it reached my floor, and the doors slid open to reveal the quiet, elegant hallway of the presidential level. Behind me, somewhere far below, my family was learning that sometimes the person you underestimate is the one who holds all the power. I smiled and walked toward my suite, already planning which Azure property I'd visit next month. After all, I owned 47 others to choose from.